welcome back to House of the Dragon. Last episode was quite an emotional one, and now that the king is dead, well, as the intro here shows, blood will be flowing pretty soon. Like this, it's very ominous and very sad. These halls will not be the same without Viserys. I would like to clarify, I don't think he was like a good king. I just think overall he was a good man. That's such a good shot right there. So who is this? Just a serving boy? Oh, I actually do believe, Alicent's grief. I think she really loved Viserys.
He told me he wished for Aegon to be king.
That's not what he said.
His last words to me, and I was the only one to hear it. And now he's dead.
Which makes that quite unbelievable to anyone else. Nice silent way to alert Mysaria.
With his last breath, he impressed upon the Queen his final wish that his son, Aegon, should succeed him.
Then we may proceed now with the full assurance of his blessing on our long-laid plans.
Yes, there is much to be done.
No hesitation. Got it.
Two among the captains of the City Watch that remain loyal to Daemon. Let us replace them. Lord Lannister.
The treasury is well in hand.
Oh, that's interesting. Did she not know about that?
Ravens be sent to our allies.
Would have assumed she was planning these things
members
too.
of the small council have been planning secretly to install my son without me.
My queen.
Really? She wasn't? That actually surprises me. Makes her a much more sympathetic character, if you ask me.
What an impostor! The boy's mother is a witness.
You're right, this sounds insane, but you probably shouldn't be saying these things out loud. I see you, Kristen. Don't do it.
Which of you here?
Just throw him in the dungeon.
Regicide, Lord Beesbury.
I'm pretty sure in the book that's what they say they do with him. Just throw him in the dungeon, please.
I care not. I will have no part.
Oh.
Throw down your sword and remove your cloak, Sir Kristen.
Just take his head off. Yeah, he's a loose cannon, dude. Enough. He just smashed the dude's face into the table. I think we all knew he had to die. But
finish our business.
That doesn't even look like Kristen meant to do it. He's completely out of control.
She'll never bend the knee.
No.
Nor will Daemon, which you know.
Yeah. You know that, Otto. Don't pretend like that's you being merciful. You know they're not going to do that.
He loved her. I will not have you deny this.
And yet...
One more word, and I'll have you removed from this chamber and sent to the wall.
You should just do it now. Fuck this, dude. I mean, the smartest play probably is to kill them, but just honor his actual wish just to make Rhaenyra a queen. Damn it.
And be clean.
I am Lord Commander of the King's Guard.
Not whatever the fuck this is.
I recognize no authority but the King's.
One possesses a thing, the other will take it away.
Yes, Princess.
Oh. People are just kind of like, whatever you say.
He's not in his rooms.
Oh, be nice to her.
There is a beast beneath the boards.
What exactly is she referring to with a beast beneath the boards? I don't recall a moment from the book that could be referring to. Seems to be playing out pretty similarly to the book. I don't know if Rhaenys was here at King's Landing, though. I don't think she was. Everybody into the cells. If you're lucky, they'll let you out one day. I'm really enjoying this, though. All these quiet but very powerful political moves in order to ensure power.
It was his duty as my brother, he said, to ensure I was as educated as he was.
Gross.
The prince is not here.
Has he been here?
How you've grown.
He's like, yeah, okay, goodbye.
You'll not leave this room without declaring your intention.
That is a not very subtle way of saying you will be killed or taken prisoner if you don't bend the knee. So just bend the knee regardless. Oh, come on, man.
I will not bend the knee.
Honorable fool. Like, this is the time where you, again, you bend the knee, you swear fealty, you say whatever they want to hear. And then you do what you actually want to do. You know, I'm hoping you guys got escorted to the cells and not to the chopping block.
He could be dead.
Let us hope for your mother's sake that is not the case.
It'd probably be better off for everyone if he was. Oh, that's super fucked up.
About 10 years, I should say.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Have them grow the nail. You see now what he is. You've not seen everything.
Getting a better picture as we go. I feel like if you leave now, that's gonna look really bad, man. Should probably stick around for a little bit longer.
Should they come looking for me, I intend to be found.
I'm sure you do. Alright, if anyone asks, just taking a stroll through town.
Something must be done.
Wanted to grab some silk from the Road of Silk. And that's it.
I can take you to Prince Aegon.
Can you?
Rather, I'm sent by one who knows where he is.
There you go.
Where were you going then with such urgency?
To get some silk. To get some silk. To get a pillow. A new saddle. Just somewhere in the city. Come on, man.
Let the King's justice take him. You did well.
These people need to learn how to lie better. God damn it. I do like how they've actively made Alicent not a Cersei. Like, she is a much more sympathetic, compassionate person. But I still kind of don't like her.
Good reason for the outrage.
She's on the opposing team.
Your son cuckolded.
Oh.
Rhaenyra's heirs are none of yours.
Your son got cucked, man. You should be with me.
Grasped so heedlessly for the throne, Viserys would have lived his days a country lord, content to hunt and study his histories. But here we are. Without your dragon, she may be persuaded to negotiate. If it's Driftmark you want, you shall have it.
You're not gonna win Rhaenys over like this, Alicent. You're not.
Your husband, your son. You desire not to be free, but to make a window in the wall of your prison.
That's
Have you never
pretty
imagined
true.
yourself on the Iron Throne?
No, I love Rhaenys. Rhaenys really knows how to like take the reins of a conversation and, you know, always have that last word. I really like that about her character.
In case they come looking for him.
Where's the prince?
He is safely tucked away.
And I ain't telling you where until I have some assurances.
End to the savage use of children in flea bottom.
I look into it. You have my word.
I don't
When
believe
your
you.
blood's ripen, there is no power but what the people allow you to take.
I will remember.
Again, I don't believe you. I do not believe you. I feel like it was actually a mistake to meet in person like that. Now he has no reason not to just kill you.
You flee while all the men die, seeking Aegon.
Yeah, too late. Kristen and Aemond are too good a swordsman to, like, lose this. I mean, I guess Kristen is better with his mace or flail. Can't remember which one. Sorry.
Where's your brother, huh?
We'll find a ship and sail away, never to be found.
Aegon, you're a massive piece of shit, but I almost feel bad for you that they won't let you just leave.
Whatever our differences, our hearts remain as one.
Don't think that's
Our hearts were
true.
never one. I see that now. Rather, I've been a piece that you moved about the board. I wanted whatever you impressed upon me to want.
Yeah.
Reluctance to murder is not a weakness.
Agreed.
We will send terms to Rhaenyra on Dragonstone. True terms, such that she may accept without shame.
If she lives, her
Her allies will mass behind her banners, looking for her return.
Then she must not
That is
return.
also true.
You look so much like your mother in certain lights.
I know it probably wasn't meant to be, but it was kind of creepy. Goodbye. What?
There is a web of spies at work in the Red Keep.
And this weaver watches me.
This is so fucked. That's really creepy. Okay. So he did have a sexual interest in her this whole time, but it seems it begins and ends with just her feet. Fetishes are fine. It's just the whole power dynamic there that's really gross. How are you getting out of this one, Rhaenys? I mean, there's tons of secret passages out of the castle. Or he could help you out. Not surprising, but it's a bummer. So, I guess Allison did have Blair's take out Mysaria. Although I didn't see a body, so I don't think she's dead. Some of the fire effects there did not look great. She can't just leave her dragon here. Again, just knowing what comes up later in the books, I'm like, she kind of has to have her dragon. Ooh, yeah, let's not go that way. Situations like this genuinely stress me out. Like, the thought of getting trampled is very real and very fucked.
And yet, with his final breath, he whispered to me that you should take his place for the throne.
He didn't. I actually appreciate that Aegon's also like, that's such bullshit, dude.
We must not rule with cruelty and callousness. For all her faults, she is.
We'll see if he does or doesn't.
Daughter.
Do you love me?
You imbecile.
I think by that she does mean, like, you know, you idiot, of course I do. Like, why would I do all this if I didn't love you? Which is curious, considering in the last episode she, you know, essentially disowned him. And he's a rapist piece of shit who watches children fight each other to the death and has a bunch of bastard kids. Where is the coronation ceremony happening? None other than the dragon pit. There you go, Rhaenys. Go get Melis. I like this dynamic as well, how the people aren't like flocking here to see the new king. They're all being like corralled and forced to be here, mostly because it can't be public knowledge that the king is dead and, you know, a new king is being crowned, so everyone just has to be kept in the dark.
Aegon should succeed him.
The people, I'm sure, are just like, oh, his son's gonna be king? Alright, whatever. Like, we don't give a fuck who's king or not. Interestingly enough, though, they might care if, you know, they had a queen instead, just because it's not the status quo. Man, if even one of them swings just a little too early, just... Whoops, I accidentally killed the king. Pretty cool how they, like, arc their swords over him, though. I like that. Come on, Rhaenys, go get your dragon. Get the hell out of here.
And light his way
There you
to
go.
wisdom.
Alright, well done, Rhaenys. Where are all the rubies that are supposed to be in this crown, though? The crown otherwise looks correct, but where are the rubies? I guess there's one ruby in it.
All hail his grace!
None of his own family can even give him, like, a proper bow. He's actually surprised by it, too. It's probably not a good thing for him to, you know, finally get validation and love from the masses as opposed to his own family. Oh, shit. What the fuck? Oh, is this Melis and Rhaenys? No, fuck these dumbass people in King's Landing. Whatever. I'm sorry. How'd they break through the ceiling like that without killing Rhaenys, though? Oh, shit. She looks badass, though. Rhaenys, it's time to go. Rhaenys, you should just do it. You should just burn them all right here and now. Just be done with it. Trust me when I say you will save yourself so much hardship. Not today. Whoa. Those were some agile moves. Way to go, Mellies. Oh, okay. I feel like that's kind of an abrupt ending, but alright. Honestly, probably one of my least favorite episodes, but even saying that, I still think it was a great episode. Well, it was a quite different episode, considering we didn't get to see Rhaenyra, Daemon, or most of, Team Black. We only got to see Rhaenys in that case, and I guess a few new people who are switching sides. Like, we saw Sir Harold Westerling leave the Kingsguard and, potentially go to align with Rhaenyra. We saw from the first episode that he was, her protector, has always been pretty close with her. We saw Caswell attempt to do the same, but he unfortunately did not hold the station authority or ability to kill people the way Westerling does, and was not allowed to leave and spread word. And at the end of the day, it would seem Lord Beesbury was also not necessarily on Rhaenyra's side, but he's like, these are the rules, and this is how it was supposed to go. And he got killed really fast. That scene was intense. Again, in the books, it's hot debate as to what happened to Beesbury. The official take seems to be he was thrown in the dungeons and, just forgotten about. But there are other accounts that, like Kristen Cole slit his throat and like someone else like pushed him out a window or something like that. So it's interesting that the truth of it supposedly is Kristen Cole, lost his temper, lost control, and smashed his face right into that little marble ball on the small council table and killed him. Too bad. R.I.P. Everything else in the episode, it's all Team Green. You're all seeing Alicent's family, Aegon being made king, Aemon discussing how he wants to be king and he should be king because he's much more fit for the role, which he certainly is. I'm not sure if that would be utterly horrible for the world if he became king, but he is next in line, so if anything happens to Aegon, maybe he will. We'll just have to wait and see. I enjoyed seeing a lot of Flea Bottom and I guess just the people that are now going to be affected by all the calamities that are soon going to be occurring. I did think some of it was a little too slow, though. Certain things I think could have been trimmed down. Seeing those fighting pits with the children, that was fucked up, man. And the fact that Aegon would go there to watch that stuff, like, he is a depraved person. As Aemon said, we lack the depravity that he does, which I don't think is entirely true. Aemon and Kristen's ability to kill someone out of rage and vengeance is pretty depraved. I think Mysaria meeting with Otto in person was just a massively bad decision on her part, really. Again, I don't think she's dead. I think in the end, things are still working pretty much the way that she wanted them to. But it just seemed way too risky to be like, yes, I'm the one in charge of all this, and here I am, completely at your mercy. Now you know what I look like. Now you know where I'm from. If you wanted, you could have either of these men chop off my head right here and now. What the fuck's anyone gonna do about it? You're the hand of the king. So I did not think that was a very smart decision. But it was good to see her again, regardless. I really liked the conversation between Alicent and Rhaenys. That I thought was quite good stuff. Because again, Alicent, even though she is on the opposing team, she is really trying to reduce the amount of casualties that could be caused here. She does not want Rhaenyra, Rhaenys, or any of their children and grandchildren to die. But she is not going to back down from this either. She is going to make Aegon king. Which again, I found so curious that she was not planning that from the beginning. The other people on the small council were, but she was genuinely surprised that they had been doing that. She, I'm sure in her head, was like, okay, I really want that, and here are the ways I maybe could do that, but she never actually laid out real plans like the rest of them did, which, as I said, it does make her a lot more sympathetic. Frustrating still, because again, she's got it wrong. She misinterpreted his last words, and she is on the opposing side, but she's not doing this out of spite or evil. She has some fairly legitimate reasons, and I really appreciate that Rhaenys calls her out and says, you know, you're still just fighting for all these men. You've never fought for yourself. You've never actually done anything for you. Don't you want to sit on the Iron Throne? And, you know, she's kind of just pushing her buttons a little bit. I also really enjoyed seeing Rhaenys get kind of swept up in the crowd going to the dragon pit. Again, I don't think that happened in the book. I'm pretty sure she was not here for this. Or if she was just kind of smuggled out real quiet-like, and there wasn't any big issue. But I liked seeing her kind of be forced there by the crowds and the Kingsguard. Or not the Kingsguard, the Gold Cloaks. I, however, did not really like the big extravaganza there at the end with Meleys. Like, it was shocking and surprising, and it was kind of neat to see, but I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense. Like, dragons are quite powerful, but to just burst through the floor like that of the dragon pit, which is supposed to house and hold the dragons, I don't know, I don't necessarily buy that. Or that Rhaenys wouldn't be crushed by the rubble falling down on her while Meleys broke through the ceiling. And I do think it makes sense that she wouldn't kill them all right there. Like, it would have been a viable move if she did. But it also puts a bad look on Rhaenyra and all of them. Like, oh yeah, they basically, at that point, just looked like they usurped the throne from the rightful king, who was immediately burned alive 2 seconds after being crowned. So I get it, but I don't know. It's something that never happened in the book, and it just felt like spectacle for the sake of it. I did love Rhaenys' armor, though. That was really cool to see. And Meleys herself is a really cool dragon. Personally, I think they should have just ended the episode with Aegon, you know, wagging his sword at the crowd and them all chanting at him. Just that on its own, it felt plenty ominous. You're like, oh shit. This man who has never known true love from his own family and is a depraved, horrible person who didn't even want this authority now feels vindicated by having it. That's not good. That is really not good. And I think if they had ended it right there, that would have been a much more solid way to end the episode than Meleys like bursting up through the floor. Because again, it was cool to see, but there's a lot of logic and believability issues that I have with it. And it also just never happened in the book. It's a straight up fabrication for the sake of, you know, something cool happening, which I don't think this show needs. I mean, plenty of the political intrigue in this episode held my attention perfectly. But let's jump into the technicals. Writing of the episode, I think, was for the most part pretty strong. I think the Meleys Rhaenys dragon situation at the end is a sour note in some pretty good writing here. And I do think some of the search for Aegon took just a little bit too long. Again, there's important stuff in there, and it's not like the scenes are worthless or completely stretched out beyond belief, but there are a few moments where I'm like, we could trim this up just a tidbit here. And while I think it's a bold choice to not show Rhaenyra at all, which I'm sure the effect is supposed to be, you know, Rhaenyra is completely in the dark about everything happening here. So therefore, you don't see her at all. You only see everything that they're doing behind closed doors. which it's a choice, but I think in terms of how the rest of the season has gone so far, I would have liked to have seen at least a little bit of those other characters. But that's just a personal thing. I don't think that's a gripe or a bad thing about the writing of the episode. Like I said, it's certainly a choice, and I always appreciate when a show makes a strong choice. So I'll do a 7 out of 10. Editing of the episode. Again, I think there are some moments that could have been trimmed up, just made a little bit more digestible. Specifically during the Aegon search sequence, there are a lot of moments where they'll show these extremely wide shots that are beautiful and do establish both the mood and, the setting that we're supposed to be in. But some of them I just don't think are necessary. I'm like, I understand, we're in Flea Bottom, let's go. Hurry up. Just a little bit, please. So I think the editing could have been picked up a bit there. And I normally don't like traditional fades, just a cross dissolve from one shot to the next. But they did that as a sort of montage after they do get Aegon back, just to show how distraught all of Team Green is in the Red Keep. And I thought that was actually a really good choice. That was quite nice. So for editing, I'm going to do an 8 out of 10. Cinematography, I think, was really fantastic. There were some shots in here that were just beyond. Just that opening sequence, watching that serving boy walk down the darkened hallways and everything. Some of the framing and the lighting that they did here was so fantastic. Honestly, there is only one gripe I can think of in terms of the cinematography, and that's this one shot when they show Caswell after he's been hung. When they pass by him, you can see the rays of the light that they're using on him a little too clearly. They're too defined, and it makes it really obvious that there's just a yellow spotlight behind him. And that was one of those things where I'm like, the DP or someone along the line should have seen that and been like, oh, we can't show that. That's gonna break the immersion. But everything else was almost perfect, so I'll do a 9 out of 10. Acting was also really superb here. Olivia Cooke is doing a really phenomenal job with Alicent, because again, to see her genuine grief over Viserys' death and genuine conflicting feelings here about placing Aegon on the throne, she makes it very clear, not only through her words but through her acting choices, that she thinks she's doing the right thing. She truly thinks, I have to do this, it was his dying wish, while at the same time still trying to defend Rhaenyra but also protect her own claim, her own son's claim. She's doing a really, really good job. Eve Best, I think, was also another standout performer in this episode. Just her, wordless exchange there at the very end on Melis. Even though I think the scene itself is a little ridiculous, her acting there was quite good. As well as the actor playing Aegon, what's his name? Tom Glyn Carney. I really liked his complexity in the performance here, how he feels bitter and hateful towards his father and his mother for not really loving him or showing him that love, but also being a depraved lunatic. I actually enjoyed how he was giggling when Aemond was trying to hold him down. He just can't take anything seriously, but at the same time he feels the weight of the world on his shoulders and is a huge piece of shit. So it's just a really interesting character, honestly, and I think he's playing him quite well. I'll have to do 10 out of 10 for acting. Costumes and makeup were, once again, very, very good. I don't know what it is. Certain wigs just look fake to me, whereas others look very good. Or sometimes a mix of the two. I don't think Rhaenys' wig looks necessarily real, but I think it looks really good. They always have her hairstyles in such a way that I disregard what the wig looks like. Or I think Aegon's wig looks surprisingly real to me, as real as white hair can look, I suppose. The costumes they did for Alicent, a lot of the dresses she wore were fantastic. I also find it interesting that she continues to wear green while she's supposed to be, mourning her late husband. Really has to keep on brand there, apparently. And Rhaenys' armor there at the end too. Oh my god. That looked really cool, actually. I feel like Game of Thrones had a problem with the armors and clothing on the show just looking very samey for every single character. And I thought her, like, dragon scale with jewels on it, like, it just looked so Targaryen, and specifically something Rhaenys would really go for, so I love that. I'll do another 10 out of 10. Set design was also quite good. Seeing, I guess, a different side to the dragon pit was very cool. I liked everything they did with that. It felt appropriately ancient and massive, looked great. I liked all the locations that they filmed on for Flea Bottom. I'm not exactly sure where they shoot all that. I think it's in Spain. But they dressed everything up perfectly. I was, fully immersed in the city of King's Landing. Also, that location they shot on, for the outside of the Sept. Don't know where that was, but that looked really nice. Another 10 out of 10. Visual effects. There were actually a few visual effects here that I thought were quite lacking. There was the fire that supposedly killed Mazaria. I do not believe that she's dead. I don't believe it. And there's also stuff in the book that she does later, so that she's not dead. But yeah, that fire effect that they used there, I thought looked kind of bad. There were spots that it wasn't like clipping, but there were spots where the fire wasn't really attached to anything on the wall, just looked kind of fake. It wasn't great. And also when Millie's bursted through the floor, there were bits of the debris that just looked kind of cartoony to me. I don't know, it just looked very video gamey. It didn't look real again. The dragon herself though, Melis, looked fucking awesome. They did a really good job with that. And I love the way she folded her wings in to get through the door and just shot out of there. That was really cool. And obviously all the visual effects shots of the city of King's Landing itself, I think they were all very well done. There were just a couple spots there that I was a little disappointed by, and considering they were on such prominent display, it was a little glaring. So I'll do a 7 out of 10. And sound design I thought was really good. The music they chose here was super melancholy and tense, which was very appropriately toned for the episode. For once, I actually liked them reusing some of the Game of Thrones themes when they were putting all the servants in the dungeons. It really just added to the same feeling that we have felt in Game of Thrones when succession is dealt with. I also love the sound they did for Melis, how she kind of sounds like a cat almost screaming. It's a different sound for the dragon. I mean, every dragon on this show has a slightly different sound than the former, but I particularly like the sounds they used for Melis. I was like, that's a cool dragon, dude. That's really cool. 10 out of 10. And that gives this episode an 8.9 out of 10, which I think is, again, a pretty fair score. I think it was still very good, but compared to the last 2 or 3 episodes, I think it was certainly a dip in terms of both pacing and a really cohesive script. Because again, this one felt like a little too much of a break, not seeing the other characters. And I just really don't appreciate Melis having the big extravaganza there at the end. Again, it was fun, but it just doesn't really make any sense to me. It just put a sour note to the very end of the episode that I otherwise would have liked, I think, a lot more. Regardless, next week is the finale. I have high hopes. Spoiler, I'm not exactly looking forward to it, but I also am. So I will see you all there, and that's about it.